What's up and welcome to Kplus Gaming Corner and another Outriders video. Today we're looking at my take on the Acari Pyromancer set. Some quick thoughts on the build. It's actually a variation of a build I was running before Worldslayer with all purple gear, where the Volcanic rounds mod reload boost was the star of the show. The way I was playing it, I was only using Volcanic rounds briefly to set enemies around me or at a distance on fire, then swapping weapons to proc Moaning Winds, and then switching back, which then set Volcanic rounds to cooldown, setting up the bonus. And then when the rounds were ready again, I'd rinse repeat, and this was giving me my fastest clear times by far between all my characters. Since Worldslayer and its subsequent patches, the anomaly damage bonus has been cut to just 25% instead of 50%, which is still good but nowhere near as potent. At the same time, when it comes to the Acari Armor Set bonus, they also cut that in half from 50% to 25% anomaly power boost based on the number of enemies hit with your heat waves. I pretty much decided to combine the two builds and pretty much settled on what is, in my opinion, a satisfying way to run your Pyromancer build. So let's get into it. For the skills, we're using Heat Wave, Volcanic rounds, and Overheat, with low cooldowns on each, and the timing of Volcanic rounds and the way we're running it, as well as how we have our packs tree set up, it lines up perfectly and ensures we always have our reload boost buff up, as well as lining up nicely to when your Moaning Winds is ready, so it's easy to keep track of that. Looking at our weapons, this time I'm going with the Wicker, which comes standard with ultimate Ashen bullets, which will help us increase the damage of our overheat in a way that I'll explain in more detail when we get to the gear mods. This one came with Stigmatized, which helps me also apply Toxic to enemies in addition to the burn that we're inflicting, but that slot's flexible. I'd probably actually rather prefer something like Firestorm or Claymore Torrent. And then I threw on Mage's Rage, since it's still a great way to ramp up anomaly power, as I'm spending a little bit more time in this build shooting and getting crits. For the second weapon, I'm using the Thunderclap, since this one came with Moaning Winds, and then I added Radiation Splash for some extra damage and also to mix in some vulnerable to enemies. And the Nicola's Revenge is also useful in the scenario where I actually mess up the swapping mechanic and actually have to use the shotgun itself. Our pistol is irrelevant as we're never going to use it. The gear, I actually decided not to use the Acari helmet and instead went with Ronin's Amagasa, since it has more favorable attributes, anomaly power, status power, and cooldown reduction, and this also rolled with Scorched Earth in the APOC slot, which will send an extra heat wave back on enemies, inflicting more burn and dealing additional damage. The helmet comes with Arms and Anomaly, which will boost our anomaly power as we shoot and get crits. And then I included Reload Boost, which, as I mentioned before, will grant a 25% anomaly damage bonus for 10 seconds once you swap off Volcanic rounds. The Acari chest piece comes with Detonator, which decreases the cooldown of your overheat by 50%, which pretty much ensures that we'll have an overheat ready every 3 or so seconds, and it also gives us 2 heat waves before cooldown with the Tidal Wave mod. This piece I was lucky to roll with Captain Hunter, which is great for that extra 16% damage against elites. We're using the Waistcloth of the Acari, which gives us Anomaly Echo, which is another way we're boosting our anomaly power as we're using our skills. And then I included Burnt Out, which gives us up to 30% extra damage to enemies hit with our heat waves. These pants rolled with Sunburnt, which is an excellent way to increase the damage that your overheats are going to be doing to enemies that are burning. I'm using purple gloves that come with anomaly power, status power, and cooldown reduction, and these rolled with Pants on Fire, further increasing the damage of each overheat that we're doing. And then I'm also using Bullet Kindling, which is going to allow us to deal an extra 12% damage to enemies afflicted with burn. And I included Ashen Boost, which itself boosts your damage by 12% to enemies afflicted with Ash, which our weapon is applying Ash to enemies every second. The Boots of Acari activate the set bonus for us, which, as mentioned, give us 25% extra anomaly power for 10 seconds for every enemy damaged by our heat wave. And as I explained before with our Scorched Earth mod, the heat waves are now going back and forth, ensuring we're hitting a maximum number of targets with each cast, so this buff is pretty much going to be up throughout the entire engagement. The boots rolled with Unstoppable Force, which increases your anomaly power based on your resistance piercing, and then I included Fire Tsunami, which increases the width of each heat wave, ensuring your heat waves again will be hitting as many enemies as possible. For the class tree, we're changing it up a bit from our previous builds, staying along the bottom and coming up to grab Conflagration for some extra resistance piercing, boosting that anomaly power through Unstoppable Force. We're also grabbing an extra Meltdown node this time, so Burn will do an additional 20% damage, which since we have 2 Meltdown nodes, it's actually 40%. If survivability is an issue though, you can replace that with Phoenix Nestling, which will resurrect you from certain death if your health runs out. With the Pax tree, we're still going along the bottom, but this time we're grabbing Scorched Flesh, which is going to allow our Heat Waves and Volcanic rounds to ramp up our status power by up to 30% as we're casting those skills. And then we're grabbing Convection on our way to Furnace, which is increasing our status power by up to 75% based on how many enemies we have burning. And then Burnt Offering, which increases the duration of burn by 500%, and each consecutive tick of burn is doing 25% more damage, making burn an even more lethal damage over time weapon. For the Ascension points, the most important categories here are Anomaly Damage, Anomaly Power, Status Power, and Resistance Piercing. The Endurance section is also a good idea for some survivability, which comes in handy, and then you'll want some extra damage against elites in the Prowess section. The rest is up to you to fill in as you see fit. So that's the build. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section and how you'd set it up. Critiques are also welcome. Speaking of critiques, and for a quick update on my Reforged Pyromancer, a user on Reddit suggested that I go with Hot Situation instead of with Fire and Anomaly. So instead of getting the 12% extra anomaly power with my Overheats and Thermal Bombs, I replaced that with an extra 45% anomaly power with my Feed the Flames. It was a great suggestion and I'm happy with the results as I'm running through expeditions and trials even faster than before. I'm tinkering with the Scorched Zealot armor set, so that might be my next video, although I'm itching to get back to my Trickster and show him some love. So either way, make sure you're subscribed to find out and also hit that like button, and until next time, peace.